Okay, so in this video, I am going to be sharing with you some powerful information that you probably did not know about the runes. This came about as a result of an excellent question that was brought to me by, somebody who was watching my channel. And I believe somebody who has followed some of my other work, which, by the way, before I get into it, listen, if you're just watching my channel or if you're just new to my channel and you think my videos are what it's all about, no. These videos, this channel is merely the tip of the iceberg. It's really designed for people who have learned the information that I've given out, and this is a place for them to go more deep and to ask questions. That's what the live Q&As are about. If you really want to find out what it is, everything that I do, go to courses.thunderwizard.com. Thunderwizard.com is my teaching channel for people who want to take the mastery course in shamanism and spend hundreds of hours watching all kinds of videos mastering shamanism, including runes. I talk about runes a lot. But if you want to find everything, all of my services, all of my books, all of my videos, all of my teachings, all of my certifications, all of my services like rune readings, like this new energy healing service, the astrology, you go to courses.thunderwizard.com. Somebody came and wanted to know, where do I find your rune thing? I couldn't find the link. I find out that he went on to Google and tried to Google my rune thing. Now, if you want to find everything in one place that I provide, go to courses.thunderwizard.com. On there, you'll find my books about runes. And I'm going to share with you some things about runes today that maybe you didn't know. The 5 elements. How do the 5 elements come into the runes? Can you use the runes to tap into elemental forces? I get this question a lot. I'm going to say, with as much patience and kindness as I can, that to ask those kinds of questions means you don't understand what the runes are. That's okay. I don't even know if I've ever heard another rune teacher even say this. Perhaps they don't know. They don't know what the runes are. If you have a basic fundamental assumption that is accurate about the runes, you will never ask that question. How do the elements, the 5 elements, how do the elementals tap into the runes? How do you use the runes to call forth the elements, the elementals? That's a question coming from a fundamentally wrong or maybe just missing a fundamental assumption about the runes. So I'm going to answer this very easily for you. You don't even have to work hard to figure it out once I tell you what it is. The runes are fire. All of them. You're like, what? But there's at least there's other runes in there that talk about ice, hail, Isa, and then there's Lagus, which is lake, right? So they've got to be more than just fire. I understand your confusion. And I'm telling you, this is coming from sources where, looking at the language of the runes, and I'm going to get into that. You're going to find out there's some things about the runes you really you might not know. And that's because really, if you really want to understand the runes, you have to understand Proto-Germanic language and Indo-European language. Because people forget that the runes themselves are the building blocks of communication for the Germanic languages. Without runes were the alphabet. And as I teach in my first book, Rune Shamanism, it is my belief that the runes, before they were ever written down as symbols, were taught as a powerful magical tool. But they're also the alphabet. They're the building blocks of language. If you don't understand Proto-Germanic and Indo-European language, Proto-Indo-European, you won't know what the runes even mean. We even see this in some of the rune poems. Some of the rune poems don't even know what the runes mean. Okay? I know people are getting really pissed off. I love the rune poems, but some of them they're off. It's because by the time the rune poems were written down, we're very late in the development of Germanic languages and Germanic spirituality. But the essence of the runes are fire, particularly what is known as Kundalini fire. So to ask which runes correspond with which elements, you're missing the fundamental assumption. All of the runes are fire. That includes the ones that have to do with the symbolism of water. Hagalaj, right? Laguj. When I chant the rune Laguj, what I feel is a bubbling wellspring. So it turns into steam, and the rain, which is Hagal is connected to rain because it's hail. It's hail fire. It's got the fire to it. Uruj is descending power, which has fire to it. So let's talk about some of them. Fehu is cattle, but that's the symbol that it represents. It represents the symbol of energetic resources, because all resources are energy first. They're manifested in physical things. Whatever physical things I have, you have to have the resources to buy them. And way back when, resources were cows. Cows had everything you needed. But the essence of resources, of the support of life through resources, is fire. Uruj, we already talked about. That's fire too. It's slag, descending fire. Thurisaj. Thurisaj is the rune of giants, but it's also the rune of who? Thunar. Thunar is the master of thunder and lightning. Lightning is fire. Ansuj. Ansuj is the descending communication of the gods, God mouth. It means to be able to hear the voice of the gods. The gods are the Aesir. Who are the Aesir? The Aesir are the celestial deities. The celestial deities, what are the celestial bodies? They are balls of fire. That's why you can't look directly into Asgard from here, because it'd burn your eyeballs out. It's a very fiery place. The pure fire of the gods. Raito. Raito means ritual. It's where we get the word rite, R-I-T-E, and the word ride, and it means the path of the sun, fire. Kenaj. Kenaj is a torch. Can't get clearer than that. Gebo, the warmth of giving and receiving. This is the warmth, the love of the heart center. Wunjo, joy. Joy that really isn't just happy-go-lucky joy. It is the joy that comes from fraternal, familial, friendship, love. Hagel, we've already talked about. Nauthij. Nauthij is fire, need fire. It's two sticks rubbing together to create fire. Isa. Isa is icicle, but it is a metaphor, because an icicle is a singular expression of the infinite, the water. So when the icicle melts, it goes back to being part of the infinite water of consciousness and awareness. But when it's frozen into individuality, it's Isa. Ice is symbolic. It's not about water. It's a symbol. Yera. the coming together of two people, the cooperation, two kenages coming together. Yuhuaj, the fire of awareness that comes from dying to the self. Perthro. Perthro is the lot cup, which represents what modern spirituality we would call karma. Not dharma, but karma. The effects of your works, fires of the underworld. It could go on and on and on and on. But even when we're talking about other elements like water, we are talking about fire. There's the Kundalini fire. Ingvaj. Inguj. Before you go any further, do you know what that word means? That's a word. That's an ancient Indo-European word. People think it's a name for Frey, because Ingunar Frey. A lot of very well-respected rune teachers talk about Ing being Frey. Nope. Ingunar Frey means Frey, the Nar of Ing. Nar means Lord, means first cause. It means he who has mastered Ing. If you are new to my channel and you haven't heard me say this, if you haven't read my books, courses.thunderwizard.com, read my books if you really want to know what the runes are about. If you've spent any time, you would know that in the Indo-European language, including the Germanic languages, originally had two words for fire. One was the fire, the actual physical fire. You build a fire, flames. The other one is the sacrificial fire, the fire that is used for the sacrifices, that sends the smoke of the sacrifice to the gods. That fire is called Ingvaj. Ing. Ing means fire. Ingunar is the lord of the sacrificial fire, which is Kundalini itself. See what I mean? People out there think they know what they're talking about with the runes. There are teachers out there teaching all kinds of stuff. They haven't got the first clue of what the runes are. So any teacher out there who doesn't immediately start telling you that Ingvaj means the sacrificial fire, if they don't have that, anything else they say about the runes is probably a good guess. Okay? The runes are fire. They are spiritual fire. They are Ingvaj. They are the sacrificial fire expressed in all of the psychological concepts that create language. That's why the runes are sacred. Why are the runes sacred? Because speech is magical. Humans are the only beings on planet Earth that can take these kinds of sounds and put them together, and you get this very intricate, deep. I mean, the fact that we can talk for hours just by making sounds, it's magic. For our ancestors, when you spoke, you could create with your speech. Nowadays, we're so disconnected from that, we're not aware of that. But you know, anytime that, like, for instance, if you cursed somebody, we walk around and we curse all the time. We don't put any meaning behind it. But back then, when you cursed somebody, it stuck. If you blessed somebody, it stuck. Words are magical. The runes are the building blocks of words. Without understanding of the runes, we couldn't have even come up with language. Runes are fire. Now, the question is, how did the runes end up with the ancient Germanic peoples? Well, that's because, according to, I believe this, by the way, according to Hopi mythology, which I believe, maybe not literally, but I believe in the what the symbolism points to, is that in the beginning all people were one tribe, we were one race, and the Great Spirit, you can call him Odin if you want, came to the first race of people and said, I'm going to send you off into 4 different directions and you're going to master the elements. And the one group of people that were sent to the direction of the north, Germanic people. So they were sent to master fire. I find it interesting that they went into the far north during the Ice Ages, because that's when modern humans got to Europe. When they got to Europe, they got locked into the Ice Ages, and so that's the so-called white race. It are those people who were sent north and got locked into those big giant, miles high blocks of ice, and that's where the Germanic language was created from the Indo-European. The word for fire in Indo-European is ink. In Germanic it is ing, ingvaj. We hear that in the Greek and the Latin with ignis, ignition. You hear it in the Vedic with Agni. But if you want to know the one Indo-European language that has the closest sound to the original word for the sacrificial fire, it is Ingvaj. We still have today, barely use it anymore, but we still have one word that we use that has that root of ing in it, and that is Inglenook. What is Inglenook? It's a fireplace. It's the nook for the sacrificial fire. What do we place on the right above the fireplace there? Pictures of our family. Why don't we place it anywhere else? I mean, you do, but the place to really put the pictures of your family is right there above the fireplace. Why is that? That is the memory that we used to have idols there sitting above the family fireplace, the Inglenook, the nook for the fire god, whose sacrifice goes up to the gods. That's why, at Christmas time, why do you hang your stockings over the fireplace? Because that's a sacred place. And Santa Claus, even though, he's not a traditional deity, he still represents that very sacred. He literally represents a deity who's coming down magically at the same time all around the world through people's fireplace, which is what? The altar. He's coming down through the altar and he's putting magical treats into everybody's stocking that's hanging where? On the altar, the fireplace. If there's a very ancient building in Britain that was built during the early years of Christianity. It's still there. I can't remember. It's one of the palaces. I can't remember which one it is. But right there above the fireplace, you see these ing runes carved into the wood. Still today, in places in Europe, you will find ing runes painted on the chimneys. Why is that? Because ing means fire. I'm focusing on the Ingvaj rune because it just amazes me that there's so many rune teachers out there that don't know what Ingvaj means. They think ing means fray. If you really want to understand the runes, you've got to have an intuitive connection to them, not an intellectual connection. And you've got to have knowledge. And that knowledge can only be done not just by reading rune poems, but by studying language, Indo-European language, Proto-Germanic languages. Okay? So, that's what I wanted to share with you today, that the runes are fire. So if you're asking yourself, what are the elements in the runes are fire. even the ones that talk about other elements, fire is still the essence of them. ThunderWizard.com, if you want to learn what I've just taught, you can go there and take the Shamanism Mastery course there. You can subscribe for that. It's a monthly subscription. If you don't like it, don't resubscribe. You can also learn the fundamentals for the Manifestation Mastery course, which I'm teaching. ThunderWizard.com. Courses.thunderwizard.com, as I said, has everything. I won't say that again. EnergyHealing.thunderwizard.com is a new service that I've just released, and I'm getting good results from it. Those of you who are still waiting, trust me, I'm going to get to you. I can only do so many healings at a time, or energy distance empowerments. Subscribe, hit the bell button. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys soon.